Okay, happy Sabbath. Good night. Tonight we'll be talking about another controversial issue. Last week we dealt with rape, and this issue is actually easier to deal with than rape, because on this issue God really has not changed on this issue. He's really the same God that you read about that was doing this in the Old Testament. He's the same God today. And last week I mentioned I guess you can say the most famous, well not famous, but the most known subject matters that people always bring up and say, God, I would never serve a God that endorses, rape, genocide, slavery. And there's some more. What are the big three? Rape, genocide, and slavery. So we discussed last week how rape was, the laws that God gave was based on the culture and on what God wants a society based on. So when he gave the law, there's a certain expectation, from us. But today we don't live like that. We don't obey God's laws, so we can't even begin to understand what God was saying. We don't want to understand what God was saying. We don't want to live, the kind of life that God wants. And so we look at that and just bark at it and just be like, that's just disgusting, Anyway, genocide is a lot simpler, a whole lot simpler. Because on this issue, God has not changed at all. And hopefully tackle slavery in the next week. And that's more complicated than genocide. Out of the three of them, the simplest address is genocide. What the people call genocide, what God sends in the Israelites when they were conquering the promised land, going and wipe everybody out, men, women, children, babies, everybody, everything, even sometimes the animals, wipe everything out. There's a reason for that, and if you read the Bible from, Genesis to Revelation, you see that, God does the same thing repeatedly, and even in history, there are stories that don't make it in the Bible where, cities are destroyed by God. Because the issue really is not genocide. See, that's the thing. See, somebody read and see, a nation being wiped out, and they're like genocide. Because today we're used to that again today. Because today, a warlord will go in and just wipe out a village or a city, and that's just bad. Yeah, it's bad if a warlord does it for his own reasons, but when God does it, normally it's because of sin. The issue is not genocide, really. It's sin, and the genocide shows you how much God hates sin. Let's look at a history of genocide in the Bible. It's not just, God did not start wiping people out, when the Hebrews were conquering the promised land of Canaan. That is not when God began to be genocidal, quote unquote genocidal. I should probably not say genocidal, but sinicidal. Yeah, God is sinucidal. He hates sin. Okay? So God's first act of genocide or sinicide is the flood of Noah. Okay? Where he wiped out everything, animals, everything. Why? Because of sin. The Bible talks about how the thoughts of men were evil continually before the flood. Okay? It was just wicked, bloodshed, I'm saying, all kind of nonsense going on, all kind of crazy stuff. And God wiped everybody out except for 8 people. Okay? But when people talk about genocide, they don't talk about that. Because that's very clear. God says, it's because of those people's sin why I did that. No, they're not going to talk about that. They're going to ignore that. Because, again, we are just, we just love sin. So if God says, okay, I'm going to kill these people because of this XYZ sin, no, that's just going to shine a light on our sins. So we just ignore that one. Okay, moving on. Sodom and Gomorrah. Well, that's clear too. And the Bible gives, even more details on Sodom and Gomorrah. How, what happened when the angels went in Sodom and Gomorrah to get Lot, how the men of the city tried to rape the angels, right? God wiped out Sodom and Gomorrah and 5 surrounding cities, or including, total number, including Sodom and Gomorrah was 5 cities, right? Wiped them out. Okay? So again, that's God showing you again how much he hates sin. Right? Again, he hates sin. So, moving on from Sodom and Gomorrah, I suppose, we come to Egypt, where, God judged Egypt after they wouldn't let, the children of Israel go. But, we could even point to the, issue that we talked about last week with the rape video where when the people of Shechem, the prince of Shechem, raped Dinah. Oh, they were wiped out by Simon and Levi, and again because of sin. But that was not a direct order from God. But God judged Egypt because they wouldn't they wouldn't obey God's commandment. The children of Israel came out of Egypt, and then they went to the Promised Land, and it is the same exact thing. So we're going to look at some scriptures now to show you why God did what He did. And again, it's not because He's genocidal; it's because He's sinicidal. He hates sin. And He will eradicate sin. He hates it. He doesn't like to see it, smell it, nothing about it. It's completely anti Him, anti God. So He deals with sin the same way He did from the beginning of time. And the only reason why most nations are not wiped out today is because of grace. Because Jesus Christ, His Son, shed His blood, and when He looks at us, He sees the blood of Christ. There's time, there's space to repent, right? But in time, God is going to get mad at us rejecting the blood of Christ and claiming the blood of Christ for forgiveness of sins, and it's going to simply just wipe us out. Wipe those nations out that reject Christ. Okay. And so let's look and see exactly why these people were killed, why they were wiped out, just like the people of before the flood, the antediluvian world, just like the people of Sodom and Gomorrah, wiped out. So let's go to Leviticus 18, and we're going to start at verse 2 to verse 5. And this is the Lord speaking to the children of Israel. Okay? When they have gotten the Promised Land, now God is telling, giving them laws and and He's reasoning with them and telling them exactly what He wants. And here you go. Start at of course at verse 1, Leviticus 18. 1 to 5. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, I am the Lord your God. After the doings of the land of Egypt, okay, whom he judged, by the way, wherein ye dwelt, shall ye not do, and after the doings of the land of Canaan, which they now are in, right, whither I bring you, shall ye not do, neither shall ye walk in their ordinances. Ye shall do my judgments, and keep my ordinances to walk therein. I am the Lord your God. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am the Lord. So God is saying the laws that the people had in Egypt, the laws that they had in the land of Canaan, you're not going to follow those laws. Okay? You're not going to follow those laws. Instead, you're going to follow my laws. Because if you do these laws, you will live. Okay? You will live and not die. You will live. The wages of sin is death. Okay? And even sin itself is death itself. If people sin, eventually death will come to you if you sin. It will come to you naturally. God don't have to even do anything. Sin equals death. Jump into verse 26 of Leviticus 18. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourneth among you. For all these abominations have the men of the land done, which were before you, and the land is defiled, that the land spew not you out also when ye defile it, as it spewed out the nations that were before you. For whosoever shall commit any of these abominations, even the souls that commit them shall be cut off from their people. Therefore shall ye keep mine ordinance, that ye commit not any one of these abominable customs, which were committed before you, and that ye defile not yourselves therein. I am the Lord your God. And the abominations he's talking about specifically were sexual sins that he gave the laws against who you can marry, who you can't marry, and it goes into graphic details about who you shouldn't, marry. Like, for example, you can't marry your daughter, you can't marry your mother. Specifically, you can't sleep with, you can't have sex with, you can't have sex with the father's wife, your stepmother, so on and so forth. And these things that people were doing, okay, sex with animals, bestiality, homosexuality, these things that we're doing. And God came in and used the nation of Israel, the Hebrews, to wipe them out. In Genesis, he used a flood. In Sodom and Gomorrah, he used fire from heaven. Same principle. Wipe it out. Get rid of it. Okay? It's not genocide, it's sinicide. Okay, now let's go on and see what happens with the nation of Israel. Let's see what happened. Let's see if God is partial, because you'll find that God does not treat any nation differently from the other one. Even Israel is chosen people, right? Let's see what happened with Israel. Okay, remember, God gave them laws, what they should do, what they should not do. So let's see, let's go to Second Chronicles, and see, read from verse 1 to verse 9. And it's talking about Manasseh, okay, the longest reigning king in Israel, right? And let's now look at what happens here. It says, Manasseh was 12 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 5 years in Jerusalem, but did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, like unto the abominations of the heathen, whom the Lord had cast out before the children of Israel. Again, cast out, okay, destroyed. For he built again the high places which Hezekiah's father had broken down, and he reared up altars for Baalim, and made groves, and worshipped all the hosts of heaven, and served them. Also he built altars in the house of the Lord, whereof the Lord had said, In Jerusalem shall my name be forever. And he built altars for all the hosts of heaven in the two courts of the house of the Lord. And he caused his children to pass through the fire in the valley of the son of Hinnom. Also he observed times, and used enchantments, and used witchcraft, and dealt with familiar spirit, and with wizards. He wrought much evil in the sight of the Lord to provoke him to anger. Evil causes God to be angry. And he set a carved image, the idol which he had made in the house of God, of which God had said to David and to Solomon his son, In this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen before all the tribes of Israel, will I put my name forever. Neither will I any more remove the foot of Israel from out of the land which I have anointed for your fathers, so that they will take heed to do all that I have commanded them, according to the whole law and the statutes of the ordinances by the hand of Moses. So Manasseh made Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem to err, and to do worse than the heathen whom the Lord had destroyed before the children of Israel. So again, as you can see, the issue is not genocide. It's not genocide. It's not that God, it's like, let's just kill these people because I can kill them. No. Here, Manasseh, the children of Israel are doing the same things and worse than what the Canaanites, the Egyptians did before them. And God is just as upset. Right? He's just as upset. He hates sin. And, he gave them laws to follow, and they're not following the laws. No, they're doing just like what was done before they came into the promised land. So, what's the judgment? Let's see what the judgment is. Okay? Let's see what God does to the nation of Israel. With the same people that he used to drive out the Canaanites, to destroy them. Okay, Jeremiah 32, reading from verses 26 to verse 35. Then came the word of the Lord unto Jeremiah, saying, Behold, I am the Lord, the God of all flesh. Yes, God rules everything, okay, the whole earth, all flesh. Is there anything too hard for me? No, God. Therefore, thus said the Lord, Behold, I will give this city into the hand of the Chaldeans, and into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and he shall take it. So now God is using another nation to judge Israel. Okay? Whereas he used Israel to judge the Canaanites before. See? God is not partial. Sin is sin. And the Chaldeans that fight against the city shall come up and set fire on the city. Same thing Israel did when they came into the land of Canaan. And burn it with the houses. Same thing Israel did to the Canaanites. Upon whose roofs they have offered incense unto Baal. Same thing that the Canaanites were doing. And poured out drink offerings unto other gods to provoke me to anger. For the children of Israel and the children of Judah have only done evil before me from their youth. For the children of Israel have only provoked me to anger with the work of their hands, saith the Lord. For this city hath been to me a provocation, been to me as a provocation of mine anger and of my fury, from the day that they built it even unto this day, that I should remove it from before my face, as he did to the Canaanites, because of all the evil of the children of Israel and of the children of Judah, which they have done to provoke me to anger, they, their kings, their princes, their priests, and their prophets, and the men of Judah, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And they have turned unto me the back, and not the face. Though I taught them, rising up early and teaching them, they have not hearkened to receive instruction. But they set their abominations in the house, which I called by my name, to defile it. And they built the high places of Baal, which are in the valley of the son of Hinnom, to cause their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire unto Molech, which I commanded them not. Neither came it into my mind that they should do this abomination to cause Judah to sin. And this goes for every nation today also. The same way that God looked at the people before the flood, Sodom and Gomorrah, the Canaanites, Egypt, Israel, is the same way he looks at us today. And one day he's going to get fed up of us, spitting on Christ, spitting on what Christ did for us, because we love sin. Ignoring the blood of Christ because we love sin, because that's what's keeping him back, is the blood of Christ. When he looks at us, humanity, he sees his son's perfect sacrifice, his blood, and that's holding him back. But even then, even the blood of Christ, will be saturated, with, it will be, God is gonna eventually just say, all right, that's it, enough, and judge every nation for their wickedness, because the very same things that Israel did and the Canaanites did, we are doing today. Think of a sin and we're doing it today, right? The reason why Israel was not completely wiped out, as he did the Canaanites, Sodom and Gomorrah, all right, is because of the promise that God made to Abraham and to King David. And this is, a matter of fact, on their way to the promised land with Moses as the leader, God threatened to wipe out the Israelites, Hebrews, multiple times, and Moses begged for them. And one thing that Moses said was, God, remember, the promise he made to our forefathers. And also, the people of the nations around about us will say that, you could not carry a people from Israel to the promised land. They're going to, mock and laugh. But the main reason though was the promise he made to Abraham, okay, and the promise he made to King David, where he said to Abraham, that your descendants will, be as innumerable as the stars, and to David, you will always have a descendant upon the throne of Israel, always, and that was fulfilled through Jesus Christ, because he's the King of Israel, the High Priest of Israel, and also the King of the world, and the High Priest for the whole world. So the Messiah had to come through the lineage of David, through the seed of the people of Israel. So that's why the word wiped out completely, eradicated, as he did other nations, right? So he kept a remnant, even to this day. Of course, you have Jews in Israel, but they're also all over the world, and a lot of us have Jewish blood in us, because they were scattered across the whole world. And we just don't know it, And to that point where Israel is not completely wiped out, let's read Jeremiah 32 and see again why. Why they weren't, completely eradicated. Jeremiah 32, chapter 32, verse 36 to 44. And now therefore, thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, concerning the city, whereof ye say it shall be delivered to the hand of the king of Babylon by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence. Behold, I will gather them out of all countries, whether I have driven them in mine anger, and in my fury, and in great wrath. And I will bring them again unto this place, and I will cause them to dwell safely. And they shall be my people, and I will be their God. And I will give them one heart and one way, that they may fear me forever, for the good of them, and of their children after them. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them, and I will not turn away from them to do them good. But I will put my fear in their hearts, that they shall not depart from me. Yea, I will rejoice over them to do them good, and I will plant them in this land assuredly with my whole heart and with my whole soul. For thus said the Lord, like as I have brought all this great evil upon this people, so will I bring upon them all the good that I have promised them. See, he promised, specifically to Abraham. And fields shall be bought in this land, whereof ye say, it is desolate without man or beast. It is given into the hand of the Chaldeans. Men shall buy fields for money, and subscribe evidences, and seal them, and take witnesses in the land of Benjamin, and in the places about Jerusalem, and in the cities of Judah, and in the cities of the mountains, and in the cities of the valley, and in the cities of the south. For I will cause your captivity to return, saith the Lord. So, in conclusion, really, okay, Israel only survived because God promised their forefathers that they will be there forever, but for any other country, yeah, and also, of course, the Messiah had to come through somebody, right? Through some people. God chose Israel to bring the Messiah, of course, so they couldn't be wiped out. Okay, and the Messiah is righteous, so through him we can achieve righteousness, right? We can have forgiveness of sins, and he's our example. We can be perfect just like him, if we want to. We can choose not to sin if we want to. He's our example. All right, if we do sin, we have his blood, for atonement. So they could not be wiped out, right? Right? They couldn't be, because we had to have a second Adam, a righteous Adam. So, for again, the people who read the Bible and they take issue with people being wiped out, there is a great wiping out coming. If you think that wiping out a city in Canaan is bad, there's a place called hell. There's a place called the lake of fire. Okay, where all sinners will go to and be separate from God forever. Okay, that's the final wipeout. The final act of genocide, as they would say. They don't see what is really going on in that. They don't really understand and see that it's not people dying here. It is sin that's causing people to die. Okay, it is sin. That's what's going on there. It's not God, because he's God, just telling people to kill people. It's not that. There's a reason why that's done, and God is very patient with the Amorites, the Canaanites. He's very patient. Even after he brought the children of Israel to the land of Canaan, he waited 40 more years. And there's a verse in the Bible that talks about the iniquity of the Amorites was not yet fulfilled. That's before the children of Israel went down into Egypt. In 400 years, however long it was, the Bible says 400 years. The Amorites did not repent. The Canaanites did not repent. After 400 years, they kept on in their abominations, and God came and just wiped them out. If he didn't use Israel, he used somebody else to wipe them out, because they were just going to be gone anyway. He just used Israel so that they could see what God does to nations that reject him, and they still did not take heed. Even though they were the ones that wiped out the sinners in Canaan, they didn't remember or use that example. Hey, we shouldn't do what they're doing, because this would happen to us, and that goes for us today. All the nations of the world, God is watching, and he hates sin, and the wages of sin is still death. And Jesus Christ is the Lord, and God bless. Thanks for watching.